This is our patented hexagonal map of the world. Hopefully you can identify the countries that are of interest to you. And this shows what we're expecting for GDP growth around the world this year. Now, not many red hotspots on the world map at the moment, and they are largely focused in some parts of Asia, particularly those parts of Asia that have benefited from rerouting of supply chains following the imposition of tariffs on China from America. We're looking at places like Bangladesh, we're looking at places like Vietnam, where organisations have set up manufacturing facilities to avoid those tariffs. India bouncing back very strongly from what was quite a deep and damaging recession following the outbreak of the pandemic. China not growing as fast as we've come to expect over recent years, and there are some clear reasons for that, again, which I'll touch on shortly. The deep blues on this map are around Russia and Ukraine, of course. We're forecasting Russia's economy to contract by about 10 or 11% this year, and we may yet revise that further down given the strength of sanctions that have been imposed on the country following its invasion of Ukraine. Ukraine's economy itself will halve in size this year given the damage that's being caused by Russia's invasion. Moving into Africa, actually quite a good news story for the continent. African growth this year coming back quite strong, and in fact Africa and the Middle East, the only continent in the world where we're expecting an acceleration of growth this year compared to 2021. So Africa doing reasonably well and growing on average at about 3.4% out to the end of our forecast period in 2025. This shows you what we're expecting in terms of GDP growth across the continent of Africa in 2022. And you can see that it's quite a mixed picture. And that's being caused by a variety of factors. Probably most important is the makeup of each of those economies, whether they are led by service sectors or manufacturing. Manufacturing tends to do better post-pandemic than services, as that demand is unleashed into the economy, whereas service industries take a little bit longer time to catch up. Normally you'd expect the smaller and weaker economies to catch up, to converge. We're not really seeing that at the moment. Of course, so much of the recovery and so much of the growth that we're seeing this year will also depend on whether countries are net importers or net exporters of commodities, both soft commodities, including foodstuffs, and hard commodities, including oil. This graph here shows our expected forecasts for the 9 largest economies in Africa out to 2025. And what you can see here is that there are 3 of those countries, Tanzania, Cote d'Ivoire and Egypt, whose economies by 2025 will be more than a third bigger than they were in 2019. And that's quite an extraordinary growth rate. You need a growth rate of about 5% plus per year in order to achieve that. So Tanzania, Cote d'Ivoire, Egypt, our pick of the Africa economies over the course of the next 3 or 4 years. Now, the big economies of Africa, the drivers of continental growth being Nigeria and South Africa, much more sluggish in comparison. We can see Nigeria just ahead of the world growth trend, and we can see South Africa somewhat behind that. So the sub-Saharan African average there, right in the middle, and you can see the countries that are growing faster and the countries that are growing slower than that average.